The Truth, episode 83. The Birds just let everybody down and blew a 21-point lead. What is the real problem with this offense, guys? We're going to talk about that, plus the Bears preview. But first, we're going to start out with Devin Caney and hear what she had to say about this Eagles offense.
So I think I haven't held back when it comes. I don't think anyone has when it comes to the play calling for the majority of the season, in that it's a bit vanilla, but it's also kind of on trend with what we've seen and what we've been talking about with this Eagles offense for the last 4 years. This isn't anything new in terms of the overall conversation that we're having. So I think at a certain point it stops becoming about the offensive coordinator and starts becoming, maybe it's the identity of this offense. And I know that they turn the ball over uncharacteristically on Sunday, but for the most part, while people, complain that it's vanilla and it's conservative, they succeed at not turning the ball over. That being said, I think all of us would like to see a bit more aggression. I mean, when that game started and the Eagles went up 21-0 fairly quickly, I expected that from the get-go. I feel like I was the only one, at least at our station, who was predicting the Eagles could win by a pretty wide margin on Sunday. So I was sitting on the sideline feeling pretty good about myself for a while. And then, it went 3 and out. I think they had one first down in the last several drives to end the half. They had 17 seconds left, didn't go for even a field goal at that point. And then we know what happened thereafter. So, it's a head scratcher. And I think the most frustrating and confusing part to me, and I think a lot of fans, is I don't know the solution. We hear a lot of it's execution. It's not play calling, it's execution. And 14 penalties, that'll do that to you. But we're going into week 13. So how's execution still the main issue?
What's going on, everybody, man? And welcome to the very, 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 very first episode of The Truth, where not all Eagle fans agree on everything. And this is definitely the spot where this shit about to go down.
Gotta stay locked in, Goggins. Gotta ball out like Robin. Straight to the top, I'm all in. Ordinary's like a toxin. I don't wanna be like Robin. I just wanna lead, no watching. Fuck caution, I ain't gonna be common. I got the confidence, like I'm on the shit, like I'm the baddest bitch in the club. I'm here for dominance, I'm being honest, that's what I want. I'll never give up, I want the whole place sold out. My name in every mouth. You know I'm after this shit till the world say my motherfucking name. Say my name. Say my motherfucking name. Say my. You know I'm after this shit till the world say my motherfucking name. Say my name. Say my motherfucking name. Say my. You know I'm after this shit till the world say my motherfucking name.
Driven by fire, driven by fear, never get tired, no I'm still here. Felt in the cracks, now I'm shifting gears. 10 years in, my moments here. Waiting my turn, now I'm hot in demand. Slept on a kid, but I had bigger plans. Stayed low key, but I still hit drop. Give me one shot and I'm coming alive. Names on the left, second taste it. Gunning for the top, no limitations. From the basement, no hesitation. Flipping on my L's with straight motivation. Ain't no quitter, I'm built for the grind. Pressure makes it.
What is up, Eagles Nation? It's your boy Birdgate 31 in the building. How's everybody doing? Hit that like, hit that subscribe wherever you are at, hit that follow button. How is everybody doing, man? The Eagles just took a L to the Dallas Cowboys, and I've been pissed off ever since, man. I brought my boy Tom in the building to get some Tom's takes up in the building since my boy JC was out of town and couldn't work it out. How you doing today, Tom?
Doing all right. Just looking forward to the next game and trying to put the bad loss behind us.
Yeah, that was bad, man. Hey, it was awesome seeing you at the Detroit game. At least we got to have some good times there. But then this last week, man, it got a little sour.
Yeah, I'm back in the building on Friday, so hopefully I can bring them vibes back. But yeah, it was dope to run into you and really have you hopefully enjoy the game. I was kind of, like I told you before, I was kind of sick and I kind of was miserable. It was cold. I just wanted to get out of there with a win. It was a tough game. It was ugly, but I was happy to get the win and be able to get back and just go to sleep after. But yeah, it was a good time for sure. I'm glad you were able to enjoy.
So Tom, let's talk about this Dallas game, man, because I was pumping my chest hard. I don't know if you see my little first quarter little rant that kind of got like 20,000 views. Everybody had to repost and tell me about when I was all excited the Eagles was up 21-0. But how do you feel about this game, and what do you think was the biggest issues, man?
Well, this game specifically, I definitely would have to put the issues in self-inflicted. I mean, it's the beating a dead horse at this point. You heard every player say it's self-inflicted wounds. Season high 14 penalties. You come out, you start really hot, and you get the ball in the end zone, and then you shoot yourself in the foot on far too many drives. The clip you played before the show started, where Devin Caney's talking about an uncharacteristic turnover in this. It wasn't a Jalen Hurts interception. It was the Saquon Barkley fumble. Obviously, the Gibson fumble too, but that Saquon Barkley fumble, basically, the penalty right before that. I mean, that was a microcosm of the entire game right there. You get the ball completed to Devontae Smith down to the 12-yard line. So, this is your shot, right? And I'm sorry, what's his name? The right tackle. Fred Johnson, yeah. Gets the guy in the face. I almost said Mekhi Becton. Fred Johnson gets the guy in the face. They call the damn penalty. I mean, yeah, we can go back and forth on whether or not it was actually a penalty, but nonetheless, and then it comes back, and then you go to Saquon, he fumbles, and you give up points. You give up a chance to go in and score there, and that was what happened seemingly the whole second half. So it hurts not being able to run the ball consistently either. The offensive line is just not playing well at all. The more I see of them, the more that's the biggest thing I'm looking for, is for that unit to turn around, start being able to run the ball. But those are probably the two things. But I think in this game specifically, even without the run game, even with a completely non-existent run game, the Eagles still just can't stay out of their own way. If they stay out of their own way, they can win that game. I don't want to say if this, if that, and take anything away from Dallas, but there were plays to be made, and they just couldn't stay out of their own way with some of those penalties, and that's going to kill you. That's not being good enough. So, congrats.
Yeah, man. Like, the penalties definitely hurt. 14 penalties, my guy. Like, there were some things
on the offense too. Most of them on the offense. I mean, there was a couple on the defense, but those hurt too. But, geez, that offensive line and some of the false starts, and it was just the little things, everything, man. It was rough.
Yeah, those are two things that I think are very uncharacteristic for the Philadelphia Eagles. The penalties for one, the turnovers for two, and it just seems like we just can't get it right, man. This offense, like, we have spurts of it here, spurts of it there, spurts of it here, spurts of it there. But like she said, this is not just this year. This has been going on for the last 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, that's true too. Like, it's just how we play. Like, I mean, everyone's said the same kind of stuff over the last couple of years, like she said, and you can't really fault. It's an internal conflict. I've talked about this on Twitter a lot this year. It's an internal conflict after a win to be like, man, did they look bad, or did they just do what they had to do to win, and they can win that way? I think there's something very glaring this year that's killing us and holding this team back, and is really going to be the downfall of the team if they can't get it right, is executing the run. Just hat on a hat blocking and just being better in the run game. And that's, that's the biggest drop off to me from last season. I think you can survive is a little bit of an inexperienced coaching staff with the level of talent we have if we can just execute in simple things. I don't think it needs to be anything complex. If they run the ball and dominate in the run game like they did last year, everything else is there. I've seen the defense do it. I've seen Jalen Hurts in the passing game do it. I have not seen the run game. I've seen it once against the Giants. And guess what? That was the best game we played all year. Ran for 3 yards, opened everything up. It made everything look easier. And every other game out of what have we played? 11 of them? 10 out of 11 games, the run game has not been able to really just buck up and help this team and make them more complete. And yeah, it's pissing me off. You can see I'm getting fired up about it, but I really want to see those guys dominate. I really do.
Yeah, and let's start with this running game, man. Here's what WIP had to say about with Saquon Barkley in this run game.
Now, let's talk about Saquon. He has not been as good. A lot of people say, well, it's just the O-line. I don't say it's just the O-line. I feel very confident the 482 touches, as it was supposed to do, has made him a lesser player. They rode him to the Super Bowl. He was the main dude last year. They never backed off going heavy to him, ever. I mean, other than week 18 when they sat him, they sat all the starters. You get my point. They rode him hard. So he was supposed to be lesser. He is. Now, one thing you wonder, and Jason Irvine alluded to this the other day on TV, has complacency set in with a player like Saquon or others? And he specifically said Saquon. I don't know. I know this. Cole Hamels after 08, not even close to as good in 09. Not even close. Cole Hamels in 08, awesome. Cole Hamels in the 08 playoffs, superlative. Cole Hamels in the 09 regular season, average. He was average. And by the way, he wasn't old. He was just average.
He was 24 or something, 25.
So sometimes complacency sets in. I mean, come on, guys. Didn't you think in 2018 the Eagles didn't look as hungry? I didn't think they looked as hungry. Now, with all that said, they're 8-3, so don't misconstrue. I recognize that reality, and they could still win the Super Bowl. But if we're breaking down the offense, which, by the way, in a word, stinks, I am not going to put it more on the coaches than the players.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think first of all, it's funny. I saw that clip because I turned on post game right after the game and wanted to see what the guys were saying. And I saw Jason Avant say that. I think a lot of these analysts talk really emotionally after games, kind of like the players do. I probably do too. If you get a mic in front of me,
I definitely do.
so yeah, you need some distance from it. But I think Saquon, the problem with Saquon is that it's like there was like the guy said, as he was supposed to drop off, he will drop off. And I don't know if it's necessarily his body or complacency. I just think naturally you're not going to run for 2,000 or even 1,800 yards the next year. Like it just sounds ridiculous. Like, you know, he's going to be good, but he's not even DeAndre Swift, Miles Sanders level. And I'm not saying that that's all on him either. Like there's too big of a drop off for it to all be on just Saquon. I think the problem right now with Saquon is that he's trying to create angles and make a big play, and he needs to accept that like the O-line isn't good enough right now for that, and he needs to just like take the 3-4 yards on first down that's there and be happy with it. And yeah, it's going to be tough grinder games where you're not going to be hitting home runs. We don't need home runs right now. We just need 10 yards at a time, and that will open up the offense to have some sort of consistent run game because eventually he'll hit an 8. He'll hit a 9. He wants to hit a 60 every single time. So he's taking the risk like, okay, I could get 4 here if I cut this up, but I'm going to go around or I'm going to dance or try to make a move. Yeah, I'll risk a -1 or a 1-yard gain. But if I make the guy miss, then I could go for 60. It's like you can't have that mindset. That risk isn't worth it. We need that 3, 4, 5 yards right now more than ever. So he has to be okay with that. And that's why Tank Bigsby's having more success. Because there's no autonomy, there's no checks. It's Tank Bigsby. He's not Saquon, so he doesn't feel like a superhero back there. He takes the ball and he goes straight. And if he gets slammed at 3-4 yards, he's falling forward for 5-6. And it's like that's what we need, like that guy that's just going to take the run lanes that are there. And that's why he like gives you a breath of fresh air running back because he runs like he wants that. He wants a job. He wants more carries. Saquon's running like a superstar. Like he wants to hit every big play. So I think that's part of it, but I also do think the O-line's been getting whiffed all year. I mean, it has been brutal. I looked at some cut-ups somebody made on Twitter earlier, and Jordan Mailata looks atrocious at times. And that's like you could say, oh, Landon's hurt, Cam's hurt, but Jordan Mailata has no excuse. This guy is just getting whipped right now. And that whole line from center over to the left doesn't work. And then Lane's out. And then Steen was a replacement for Becton, who was a really strong run blocker. So your whole line essentially got so much more weak. And this is the worst run game that we've seen with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts as the head coach quarterback. Like this era, we made star out of Miles Sanders. Like I said, DeAndre Swift gave him his best year. Saquon amplified it, at least be on the level of one of the lower level backs that we had. We're not even on that level right now with this run game, and it is killing this team. It is killing this team. This team does not have a chance if they can't get the run game to be at least adequate.
Yeah, that's facts, man. And we look at this, this is one of the runs they showed. I remember they cut up a couple of, plays. It's just one of the plays where he bounces it out. When you see I feel like last year Saquon would have cut it up right there and took it to the house. This is set up. This is blocked well enough for him to take it to the distance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't see because of the little clock thing there, but I'm pretty sure taking the distance or at least get to the.
It's at least getting to where I see. I think that's Mailata getting beat. It looks like, right? Like that's the one. The only guy. It looks like he's almost getting held on the right side there. Like if you see to Saquon's right,
yeah,
he looks like if anything he would be the one because it's a screenshot, so I don't really know the way he was moving. But if he shot into there, but you at least get right up in there where like AJ is. If you get tripped up, you at least still get 6, 7, 8 yards on this carry. But instead he goes around and he like goes out of bounds and terrible. Just missed it.
And he showed a couple more. See, this is my thing with Saquon right now. I feel like you said, like, I wish I would have got the freaking, I don't know if you heard the self-joiner take on it. You know what I'm saying? Like how it's like, some of these guys, they feel like, what I'm saying, after the Super Bowl, they kind of get like, like they feel like they're there already. And I feel like every single time, especially now, you look at the yards Saquon had for the season. You look at his yards per carry. Everybody's keep talking about Tank Disby does this, Tank Disby does that. And yes, the defense probably isn't expecting Tank to do anything big. And Tank does go in there and make nice runs. But neither one of them are getting the ball enough. Okay? We're talking about the whole second half, we didn't see Saquon run. Saquon's been sliding all over the place. Every single game, it seems like there's a play where, he's slipping and falling when you should be upright, running people over. You're missing holes because I feel like like you said, he wants to take it the distance every single time he gets the ball to try to make up for some of the yards he's had because he don't want to get put into the Madden curse. He don't want to get put into the whole freaking, 2,000-yard curse. So he's thinking, man, I'm running out of games to make that not a reality for me. And at the end of the day, it's the reality because you're overcompensating, you're overplanning, you're trying too hard. You are Saquon Barkley. Chill out, get the ball and do what you do. Like you said, north and south. You don't get yards east and west. You get yards north and south. And Saquon need to focus on just hitting the hole. You know what I'm saying? It's not 100% on him. I do feel like this coaching scheme, the offensive coordinator scheme, we're definitely gonna get into that. It's part of it too. But at the end of the day, when you get the ball, stop dancing so much. Stop looking for the big play and go where you need to go. Your offensive line's banged up. That is a huge part of this whole situation. Like, I don't care what anybody says. That is number one to me, the reason why the run game hasn't got started. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, people are really forgetting about Mekhi Becton right now. You know what I'm saying? Howie Roseman really botched on a couple of things this offseason. Not paying, the CB2 and Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? $10 million, you could have had this guy on the roster right now. We probably have a little bit better CB2's position right now. Not paying freaking Becton $10 million. We could have had Becton in here running people over again and again and again instead of Steen, because Steen is not that guy. I've been saying this since last year. I don't think he's that guy. He's not big enough. He's not imposing enough. I think Steen is a good offensive lineman, but he's not great. He's not a guy that's moving nobody. What are you gonna say?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Steen's more of a pass blocking. Like, he's not bad, honestly, but I think the problem is that, like, he's the only guy that's like, you kind of knew what to expect with Steen. Like you were saying, he's not really a physical run blocker. But like, if everybody else was like holding their end of the bargain up, then like it wouldn't be that noticeable or bad. But it's like everyone else is playing bad, so you're like, you don't really have a physical O-line right now that can run people over.
Mm-hmm. And then all of our big three linemen that really affect the run game been hurt. Jurgen's been hurt, and I don't even think he's 100% back. Landon's been hurt. I don't think he's 100% back. Landon was getting worked this last game. And I seen some flip-ups on him. He was getting worked.
Yeah, the whole line was getting
that whole line was getting worked. Quentin Williams made these guys look like they're part of the damn varsity football team while we're in the pros, my guy. Like, it was nasty out there in terms of what the D-line, the Cowboys were doing to us. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just them. It's been all year long consistently. At the point where they even asked Nick, do you think you should have sat these guys a little longer? But it's like, how long can you sit them?
Yeah,
You know,
the season's not that long, and sitting
I think
guys
last time you were on, we were talking about sitting players, weren't it? Last time you came on, we were talking about sitting players and can
probably
you sit them? Can you
it's been,
not sit them?
people have been saying that all year, but it's like it's a slippery slope. I said it last night actually on a stream. It's tough because if you sit a guy, then like you might get him a little fresher, but like then he comes back and he hasn't played for like a month, and you're like, all right, now get in there and play in like this. You're like his first game's in December. It's like, oh my gosh, like everyone's in game shape, everyone's been playing, through everything, and you're just coming in like, kind of just like, all right, I'm kind of trying to get my legs under me now, and it's like you never really. It's harder to predict those kind of things. So if the guy can play, then he can play, but they've just been playing really bad, and like I said, we can say injuries, we can say whatever we want, but at the end of the day, like that's what the result is us being bad on the O line. And if we can't block like anything, then I can't really like if you want to get into like all talking about offensive schemes and stuff, I can't. It's not easy to judge a scheme when the offensive line is this bad. It's not easy to judge anything that the coaches are doing when the offensive it's hard to say because Jalen's been throwing the ball well, but it's just a run game, so it's like it's hard for me to get behind anything with like the coaches because they don't have a good offensive line, and like that's what
Tell me this though, Tom. Listen,
Yeah.
coaches penalties wise, I know we've been pretty bad in penalties last. I think we had 30 penalties.
I'll say that that's a discipline thing.
Coaches, there's been some big plays that got called back because of penalties for sure. And do you think that us as Eagle fans don't put enough on Stoutland? We praise this guy Stoutland for being the guru, Stoutland University. Doesn't matter who we plug and play because he has done that over the years to the point where he's not even doing his damn job this year in terms of these guys coming in and playing.
Yeah, I think with everything, I don't think like, I think people will go and say, something about coaching and just pick something real specific. Like I'll put it on both players and coaches 50-50 because the staff we have and the roster we have, that is what we have. And we knew everybody's strengths and weaknesses coming into this season. Like you knew that our OC was going to have he was going to be a first year guy. You knew that Jeff Stoutland was the run game coordinator. You knew that, certain guys were in their positions, right? You brought in some new coaches. So the players had to like that. It's a collaborative effort. So the players had to figure out how to work with the coaches, just like the other way around. And Jalen talked about it at his press conference today, saying like, I've had new OCs like every year, and everyone's different, but it's always a challenge. But we've always found a way, and it's true. Like they've been to the Super Bowl twice. They won one. They've been into the playoffs every year, like with different guys. They're 8-3 right now. So, it's getting worked out, get it with the coaches and players, and that's just not the OC and Jalen, but everybody. So that's like Stoutland with new O-linemen. Steen's now a starter. Fred Johnson has to play a lot more because of Lane. So I think everything's always like a work in progress in that way. So, that's kind of my take on that. And that's kind of just, it's hard to blame one or the other because it's always like on any given snap, even it's like a different reason, and you could blame someone or say it's coaching or say it's players. So when they're playing bad, they got to do the job part. And like I always say, I do the fan part, they do the job part. They got to fix the things that are holding the team back. And I think it's pretty
Because
cool.
another reason why I say that, because not only are we down on our OC, but Stoutland is the run game coordinator. You know what I'm saying? So you should know your players' level that you got in the game.
Right,
You should know these linemen's skill sets.
Right.
You know your alignments hurt. You know your alignments that are back up. You should know their skill set to help, KP with this run game. Because we are, like, if this is like week 4 or 5, I understand. We are 13 weeks in the season now, my guy. And the run game has not been fixed, not once. Like you said, that Giants game, but that's a 1 out of 12. That's not good enough, my guy. Like, and it's the Giants too, It's not like a dominating football team. I know we've beaten good teams, what I'm saying, but we're barely squeaking by with these games. And I just feel like we need to put a little bit more on Stoutland because he is the run game coordinator. He does control his offensive line, and these guys are not playing to the level we've been playing at the last 10 years, 15 years. Like, this is the worst offensive line I've seen since I've been an Eagles fan. It feels like almost, what I'm saying? Like, these guys are trash.
2020 was really bad, but no, under Sirianni and Hurts, this has been the worst O-line and run game we've had. I mean, it's crazy because that's like when Jalen Hurts was a young quarterback in 2021 when he was first year starter. That's what we leaned on, the run game. And people said, oh, Jalen sucks, like he can't lead a passing offense. But now, years later, it's the OC that's a first-year guy. We need to make it easier on him. Coming into the year, you need to know, like, yo, this guy's going to need this offensive line because we have changes on the coaching staff. We have a first-year OC. Everything, like, things change every year. So you need your strengths to be your strengths. And the fact that the O-line is a weakness now is brutal, man. It's
Here's another thing, too. I'm glad you said that, too, because this brings me into what they were saying on WIP that I really like, and I need to ask you, do you think this is the answer?
If I were to ask anybody, what are Jalen's 3 best attributes as a quarterback? Everyone would say one of them is running. He is good at running the football. In fact, I heard last year that one of the reasons that Saquon was so good at running the football is because Jalen also was good at running the football. Yet, he's decided he shouldn't do it very much this year. To fix the offense, I think Jalen Hurts needs to run the ball 8-10 times a game. Here's what it does. First of all, it takes advantage of one of the things that he's good at that for some reason we've decided they're not going to do. It creates some leverage for the offense. It gives them what you want is sort of a numbers advantage on offense that we haven't been able to have. It's just been man to man to man to man, and we haven't been able to beat that because we've been failing. One guy on the offensive line has failed every single time. It gives us sort of a one-person advantage. It gives the defense something else to worry about. If he does it for 3 games, maybe it changes the whole rest of the season. And for everyone who is worried about him getting hurt, because I think that is part of the plan, I sort of understood it. You don't want him wound up. You don't want him grinded up toward the end of the year. I was worried last year about Saquon getting hurt. And everyone told me, and they were right, and I was wrong. Don't worry about him getting hurt. You got to win the game that's in front of you. If it takes 28 carries, we got to win this game. So here I look at a season that I know they're 8-3, but to a certain extent is on the brink. Nobody can figure out what is different about the offense. We're not adding players. We're not changing the offensive coordinator. We're not changing skill sets. Let's use one of the things that we are good at, and that is the quarterback running the ball. And again, if you're worried about him getting hurt, I want to get to the point in the season where it actually matters, that we're saving him for, And I think they need to do something drastic, and I think Jalen running the football is that thing.
This is the lowest season Jalen running the ball out of all the seasons we've been playing football with us. You know what I'm saying? His passing numbers look a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Like his passing touchdowns just went up. His, rushing yards is definitely down. His freaking rushing touchdowns are definitely down. Do you think that is another big key? Because even Saquon, we think about what you said earlier, from Miles Sanders to freaking Swift to Saquon's first year. All those guys, Jalen's ran the football a lot more, which was pulling linebackers away, helping the offensive line. You heard Lane Johnson even talk about it helps him. It helps the offensive line block because they have to worry about Jalen Hurts. Do you think this year, now that we're not using, Jalen Hurts in the run game as much, that's another reason why this offensive run game is not being utilized to the fullest?
Well, yeah, I think that people still respect him when he's back there, even if he hasn't been doing it this year. They know what he's capable of, and they know his body will work. But again, this is one of those internal conflict things. With what Spike's saying is, you just heard me rant about the run game for the last 15, 20 minutes, maybe longer. I've been talking about it forever. But even now, it creates another one of those internal conflicts where I'm like, okay, yeah, he makes some points of saying maybe that could unlock the run game, the thing I'm most fervent about getting corrected, right? But at the same time, we are winning. And if Spike's saying his other point is that he wants to get to the point in the season, aka the playoffs, in which we are saving Jalen for, then they need to do something drastic now. But why? They're 8-3, they're in good control, and they've been able to win the way he's played. So, okay, it might be a little ugly, but wouldn't you rather have a healthy Jalen Hurts going into the playoffs, than risk doing it now, even if it's a little uglier and doesn't really work? So it's like, it's an internal conflict. It's like, yeah, I'd rather just win how we're winning, keep him healthy, and then in the playoffs, that's when you need that advantage. And that's what I've been saying as well, is that mobile quarterbacks in the playoffs are a huge advantage. You've seen Sam Darnold and Jared Goff in the playoffs last year, they didn't get it done. They were under siege, turning the ball over, getting sacked. Having that mobile quarterback in the playoffs is such a big advantage. So if we can get Jalen Hurts to play all these games, we're going to need all 17. We might need all 16, 17 games from him, which he's gotten hurt the last 2 times we went to the Super Bowl. He got hurt at the end of the year. We're going to need all these games because we want good seeding. And then in the playoffs, we'll be thanking that he's there and ready to go and get him into the playoffs with some legs.
But to that point too, we went to 2 Super Bowls with him running the football.
Yeah, and getting in.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't so nasty. Yeah, he might have took a game or 2 here off because he did get hurt running the football. But you think about Jalen Hurts' injuries. The injuries, like what? Last time, not the year before last, I think it was against the Chicago Bears, who we playing this Black Friday. But that was off of a pass play. A couple of his injuries came from passing. It wasn't. I don't even really recall a running play where Jalen was running the ball. Besides, I think that time
last year against Washington when he got
against Louisville, that would be one of them. But that's the only one.
He got hit really hard in the Denver game this year, and people said he got concussed, but he played the rest of the game. Either way, though, I'll say this: like running the ball, like Jalen Hurts running the ball more is fine, but like I'm always on the side of being more comfortable with how he runs the ball when he chooses when to run the ball. Couple QB draws aren't bad. They've done that a couple times this season. But if he rolls out, I am fine with him taking off because he can see everything developing. But when it's just a designed QB run, that means he's going to take a hit usually at the end of that. And that can get risky. So, maybe a couple design runs here and there. But if he wants to run, that'd be great. And you know what? I'd like him to look to run a little bit more when he's passing. Like, I'd like him to drop back and just look to run and escape more because I feel like he's been good throwing the ball and everything. But, like, on some of these bigger downs, like that 3rd and 2, I wanted him to just, like, be like, nah, I ain't throwing this. I'm taking off and getting this 2 yards, moving the sticks, like those kind of moments where you're leaving it up to the hands of, like, okay, is someone going to get open? Is the line going to hold up? I want him to take that into his hands a little more and run the ball on those kind of plays.
I just feel like in that 3rd and 2 for sure, we shouldn't even been freaking passing the ball, man. I feel like all the push-tush noise is affecting the play calling because I don't give a damn how the league feels about the push-tush. That is a play that we were always 2 yards out, we're getting a first down, regardless whether we have to run it twice or not. We're always getting the first down. I feel like this year, especially after the beginning of the season, we kind of used it a little bit. Then everybody started talking about it again. And then all of a sudden, when they were getting offsides a couple of times, and like the last 3 weeks, we like kind of like abandoned. Yeah, we got the touchdown. But
we got stopped. I think the Lions stopped us on it a couple times, which was crazy. But yeah, I don't know, man. It just hasn't been the same looking year, and I don't know. I think that's okay, but there are some things that you're worried that if this team doesn't have this in the playoffs, then maybe they can't win. And the run game using Jalen as a runner, all that stuff, all those different weapons we have. I guess we got to see if they're just saving it for the playoffs, but got to get.
We've all been beating the drum, about. This new OC. I don't know your aspect on it. Do you think we need a new OC? Do you think that
they're not going to make it? They're not going to make a change right now. I mean, if the season doesn't end the way we want it to end, they probably will go and do the same thing that they did last year when they won the Super Bowl and go get a guy with more experience, a guy that can kind of come in and be somewhat of like a head coach of your offense kind of guy, rather than an assistant level guy, an entry level guy, really with 1 year of experience or no years coming in. But I think the reason that they hired Kevin Patullo was because they had a shortened offseason, just like they did at the end of 2022. There wasn't a pool of talent. There wasn't time to go look for someone. They needed to make a move, and so they hired this guy and they started their offseason program a month later, whatever it was. Or right then and there, because you're going right into free agency in March, and you make that hire in mid-February, end of February, basically. So you kind of knew what you were getting going into this. Like, you knew that you were going to have probably a pretty low-level OC this year, a guy that didn't have experience, and all you did was hire from within because you wanted a guy with some familiarity and continuity. So knowing that, like, I don't necessarily think that they have to keep him right now. They're not going to make a change right now. It just doesn't. I don't think that, like, I think that being 8-3, being able to win all this, you don't need to make a change. Like, it's not going to help anything. You just need to keep running. You're running. It is what it is. This is what they installed all offseason, right? They're not going to change the offense in the middle of the season. It's just not possible. So they keep the guy in there, and in the offseason, though, you could absolutely see, wow, there's a lot more candidates out there. Mike McDaniel got fired from Miami, right? You're gonna want to get your hands on him, right? So, like, you're gonna do things like that, and if it's an every other year thing for Sirianni and this crew, like, okay, they got to hire a new OC, but then he's gonna go be a head coach, and then they got to hire from within, and then they got to figure out if they can win with that. But if they can't, then, like, I guess that's just what it is, because Sirianni doesn't really call the plays. He's always going to get his.
He's not good at it for sure.
This coming to the Eagles to be an offensive coordinator might as well just be like a free pass to getting a head coaching job. Because if you have experience and your name's out there as a head coach, like a Mike McDaniel, a Kellen Moore, you're getting a head coaching job right away because you have all these weapons. They're going to be good. They're good with, like, this is like their worst year we've seen, and they're still good. So it's like, this is the most attractive destination for a coach that wants an assistant that wants to become a head coach. So we'll see what happens in the offseason. But right now, you're not going to make a change. It's just not. It doesn't make sense. You're still in the season. You got to just focus and see what you can do.
Because to that point, in terms of keeping someone that's maybe internal, Ruben Frank had a guy that I thought maybe wanted to get your opinion about, maybe let him be promoted from within.
I mean, the defense has gotten better every week, but you're not going to win a Super Bowl with this kind of offense. You're just not. So, yeah, I'm all for changing play callers. I would not have Nick do it. He's not very good at it. We saw that in 21 before he turned things over to Shane Steichen, who was great at it. Unfortunately, he's not available. Parks Frazier is a guy I would have do it right now. He's done it before with the Colts. He's called plays. You know, he's not a position coach, so he's got the ability to do it without being encumbered by, you know, dealing with the position. You can't have Kevin Patullo, and I don't think he's the whole problem. Like you said, I don't think he's the entire thing, but you have to change something. And there's other things you can change, but that's the big one. And he just doesn't have a flair for it, for using plays to set up other plays, for being unpredictable, for adjusting, in-game adjustments. We saw that Sunday. He scored 21 points, and then, you know, your offense falls to pieces. The other team's adjusting, and you're not adjusting back. I mean, it's a chess match out there, and, you know, he's getting checkmated, I guess. But I just don't know how you can continue the way things are. I mean, you're not going to – I mean, the standards are high here. If you don't win a Super Bowl, it's a disappointing season, and you're just flat out not going to win a Super Bowl with him calling plays.
So let me get this straight. You want to put a 34-year-old in here on a Super Bowl expectation team, Parks Frazier, a guy that's never worked for the Eagles before this year. You're going to entrust that guy, a 34-year-old guy, with the OC job on a team that you can't win with the guy that's calling the plays now, and you're basing that on the fact that when he was 31 years old, 3 years ago, he was the interim offensive coordinator for the Colts, who fired their offensive coordinator in the middle of the season, and they gave him the job, and they were a terrible team. And that's his experience at age 31 3 years ago. And he's 34 now. Look, the kid has a bright young future, but are you kidding me? 34, that is your alternative? A 34? Look, he has the Mike McDaniel connection. He worked in Miami last year. No chance he'd survive here. They're not going to give him the job. It's not going to happen. But he's not ready for OC yet. He's going to be in the future. I mean, that's a bright young coach, 34 years old. I mean, it's insane. But I don't.
Maybe that's what we need. We need some young blood, man. I'm tired of seeing all these. Look at what's going on with a lot of these teams. Even I'm watching Cleveland Browns. We got better players than us. I'm just so sick of every week watching all these other NFL teams with better players than us. Like you said, it's been vanilla for years. You know, anything that's tied to Nick Sirianni is vanilla. You know, yes, we've won vanillally, But come on now, like we got superstars on this roster. Look at Ben Johnson, what he did with the Bears. The Bears are 8-3 too. You know what I'm saying? Like
And that's like
Carroll,
huge for them, but ours is
Williams look like a freaking
listen.
starting quarterback again.
Listen, if the Bears didn't win the Super Bowl this year, would you be like, "Wow, I'm disappointed"? No, they're 8-3, and you're super impressed. We're 8-3, and you're like, "This team needs Parks Frazier." Like, you know what I mean? It's
Because our offense is trash. We're like the bottom of the barrel offense. The only thing we do good is red zone.
It doesn't.
Red
Like,
zone, whatever.
it's like for the Bears to have like an exciting team with an exciting offense and be 8-3 is like a Super Bowl to them. But like we actually, you heard Ruben Frank. If we don't win the Super Bowl, it's disappointing. So being 8-3, I mean, look, dude, I get it. You want the team to play better, but in 5 of these 8 wins, we've scored 28 plus points. We've had the big plays to Devontae. We've had some big games from AJ. Like we're doing what every other, but we just have again, this is that internal conflict. We have the craziest expectations. Like what we're doing isn't enough, and we're nitpicking at these things. But like, how many teams are looking at us like, man, I would love to be that. Like they're not even happy with being good. And like these other teams were like, oh, I wish we were that, and they're the same team where we beat them, and that's, I mean, I feel like we just have that evil empire in us right now, and
we want the best, Tom. We want the best. We want to see.
I know.
We want to see like the first quarter throughout the whole game, and I do feel like this though. This is one thing I will say because this is something that's been going on for years in the Nick Sirianni era. When we go up big early, we take the foot off the gas and they come back. I know it's NFL teams, anything will happen, but it seems to me every time we're up big early, like there was one year we're up big early, we're just blowing teams out. What was it? The Super Bowl year, I think it was.
2022, and we just used to be
kept rolling. Backups were playing. You know what I'm saying? We kept getting backups in the game.
Run the ball though, like that's the thing. We could run the ball, and what we would do is we'd get a lead, and then we would run the ball and take the air out of the game. And just keep tacking points on. All right, we get a field goal. Okay, they'd answer with a field goal. Okay, we'd get a touchdown. And it's like we're taking time off the clock, and then you're giving them another possession to think about. And it just eventually breaks a team, and we would win. And maybe they'd come back and cut it to like a touchdown, but that's how we win. Now we get the lead, and we're almost better from behind because we can't run the ball anyway. So it's like we beat the Rams coming from behind, but when we were up on the Bucks, we were up on the Broncos. We were up on the Cowboys, and we almost got come back on by the Bucks. We did get come back on by the Broncos, and we got come back on by the Cowboys. Like we gave up those comebacks, and it's like if you can just run the ball and take time off the clock, it makes things way easier. Now I do want to go back to what you were saying though about taking your foot off the gas. And Devin Caney actually in her initial thing that you played, the first clip, she was like, saying like, we just want to see him be more aggressive. And I think that's a really easy, like safe, comfortable thing for people to say is when a team blows a lead or they don't score after scoring a lot, that they're like, they stop being aggressive. But like, you can look at this game against the Cowboys and go through every play and every drive. And I don't think there was a point where I was like, man, they're just like settling and not being aggressive. They had made a bunch of big plays and got called back on penalties for them. So that just proves like they literally ran plays that were working, getting goals and getting them called back. So I don't think there was a lack of aggression. I just think they got in their own way a little too many times. And then they're on a couple of those third down. First of all, they can't run the ball. So it's putting us behind the sticks. We had to completely abandon the thing altogether. The run game was out. So we're throwing, and on a couple of those third downs, our offensive line just got beat, and Jalen took sacks or had to throw it away. And you're getting into too many 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and it's like you're not running the ball. So I don't think it's a lack of aggression. I don't think that they were able to like continue to move the ball because they can't run, and eventually that makes you too predictable. Cowboys start teeing off. They start beating us in the pass rush, and you're just giving the ball back. So,
but in terms of aggression, that doesn't necessarily have to be passing,
right?
It doesn't necessarily have to be passing in terms of aggression. We're talking about even running the ball aggressively. We literally didn't run Saquon.
It wasn't working. I mean, they just had to give up on it because it was so ineffective.
There's no giving up on a run game, though.
No, that was their choice. That was their
a bad decision no matter what. You think about the end of that game too. How many times, like, if we just ran the football, we would have ran out of time. And we kept throwing the ball, throwing the ball.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you gotta run the football, whether it's 2 yards in a cloud of dust,
You gotta-
or
Yeah, but the thing is, you got to run it effectively too. Like that, like it's not just about running for the sake of running. You got to get those yards, and the amount of times they're just getting beat and giving up plays. And yeah, they fell in love with the pass. Like they felt like they had to. And to be honest, I'm not against you at all in this. Like I agree. Like you got to run the ball. Like I'm a very big run the ball guy. But I just got so fed up with seeing how bad it was that I just was like, dude, I don't even blame them for abandoning the run game because it's
like,
just
stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, just stop. Because like I gave up on it. I'm like, here we go, 2nd and 13, 2nd and 12. Like every drive, it's like the guy, even on like the runs that gained a yard or two, it's like, how did a guy get in the backfield that quick? Like Saquon's making a guy miss every play back there, and like so that's messing with his head, I think, too, and in terms of him missing holes, and so it's just bad. It's a mess up there, and they abandon it. I don't necessarily agree that they should abandon it going forward. They have to get it right. But for that game with what was happening, it was like I can't even be mad at him. Like I can't even be mad at him because it's so bad.
And shout out to the 75 in here. Hit that like, hit that follow wherever you're at. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, everywhere. Wherever you're watching, hit that like, hit that follow. Follow my boy Tom's for Tom's Takes on X, baby. He definitely be dropping some jewels over there. Okay, well, let's get to the defense before we get into the Bear game. What do you think about this defense, man? Because we look like we got depleted, man, by the end of that game, man. Like, did you see the one play that caused both of our starters, to mess up? It was Michael Carter came in when Adoree Jackson went out, and he clips Quinion on the last play to base Quinion not on Pickens. And then at the backside of that, you see Sidney Brown, the other safety that's in because Makuba's out. The other safety is in, roll up on Makuba's leg, and now Makuba's going to be out, and he was having such a promising career. What do you think we got to do about this? Because it's obviously, the Big Fangio said today, he's rolling with Sidney Brown, and he's not, we're not worried about getting nobody else. Like, do you think that's the right move? Because I feel like maybe it is time. I was against Justin Simmons. Maybe it is time to bring him in and see what he can do. I was against freaking bringing another cornerback, but maybe it is time to take Asante Samuels off the street and see what he can do. Because I don't have no faith in this Michael Carter guy. I don't have faith in Ringo. Ringo's trash. Bennett, what the hell? You're supposed to be this guy that's supposed to, relieve us from this pain. And Adoree's been playing good, but he keeps getting hurt too. So, like, what are we going to do moving forward at those two positions? Because the rest of it, I feel like the defensive line, man, they're good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like D line's good. I feel like the linebackers are good. Yeah, Bond got the interception. People trying to give him shit about missing the interception. Whatever, dude. Bond is Bond. He's been playing good all season. I'm not going to let one bad play determine, Bond not playing good or Bond should be this or that. You know what I'm saying? The defense, the Kobe Dean second straight game, blowing up a freaking running back, to get a sack. You know what I'm saying? That's impressive stuff. 2 games in a row to do that. So what do you think about the key position that we've been talking about all season long, the safety and the CB2 spot? What do you think we need to do moving forward?
Yeah, I think they're just going to roll with the guys they have. And to be honest, you usually don't get anything out of the guys that you would go get right now, like bringing new guys in. And unfortunately, we just have who we have, and we gotta hope that they can play decent enough to cover up whatever we need to win. Lean on your D line, lean on that front seven, figure out ways to get pressure on quarterbacks, create some turnovers potentially, and just hope that those guys don't get exposed to the point where we're losing because of them. That hasn't really happened all year with any of the guys we've had back there. I don't think we've lost any games specifically because of the secondary. So hopefully
Adoree's been playing good. I think all the way up to this game, he hasn't given up 40 yards.
Yeah, the whole secondary has been playing well, and I know George Pickens just went off on them, so you can't say that anymore. I think Pickens probably had the best game against us in any receiver has had. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Pickens is in beast mode right now. He is in beast mode. I watched the last couple of games for him. He is in beast mode, completely in beast mode. And even Q's been getting burned a little bit more lately. You know what I'm saying?
Happens. I mean, Cooper DeJean's giving up some big plays down. At the end of the day, they're really good players, but once you just start them and going at them, and you have time to throw, and they're good receivers every week. It's the NFL. Like it's not nothing lasts like forever in this league with how we are playing. You could be, we're all like, oh, this guy's the best, top 5, this guy, top 5, whatever, and then you got to play still. You still got to line up and play because there's a guy over across from you that thinks he's top 5 too. So it's like it's good on good. That's just what it is, and you're going to lose some of those battles. And I think the Cowboys got the better of us. It's funny because no matter how good we are, no matter how good our players are, playing against them in Dallas, we usually lose that game. They've been way better against us in Dallas than we've been against them. So, obviously, especially since
with Dak too, I hate it now because you just see Dak. Oh, Dak is superior against who gives a damn, dude? Like that pisses me off to even hear these guys come to chest about.
I mean,
beating Dak, like we beat you in Philly
right
earlier this season.
Well, you got to remember too, Dak didn't play last year, so the last
he played
time
this year when we beat him.
I know. I'm just saying that, like for Cowboys fans, the last time Dak Prescott beat us was 2023 at home late in that season. So it was like 2 years of them not being able to see Dak Prescott beat the Eagles because we beat them to open this season. And all they ever say is he owns them, he owns them. And 2 full calendar years went by without them seeing him beat us. So they have the game finally at home. He has a great comeback win. And you see how they're acting. It's like, we knew it the whole time. And meanwhile, they're like 5-5. And it's like, it's just funny that we're like, okay, we're moving on to like the next game. I know, you guys won. It is what it is. But,
I do think it's like that's the biggest part about it. That I feel like if it wasn't a division team, right? Like I didn't like the Broncos loss, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to lose to the Cowboys like that. You don't.
I understand the Giants and the Cowboys division games. It doesn't matter your record. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be the best team, lose to the worst team in the division. That's just division games in general. So it doesn't sting as much. It stings as much because we hate the Cowboys. And it stings definitely right after the game for the first 48 hours. It stings a lot because you got to hear all the Cowboy fans go pump their chests up. You know what I'm saying? But in reality is like we still beat some of the best teams in football right now. We're still at 8-3. The sky's not falling. These guys are pumping their chests up, and they can be done this Thursday when they lose.
Right, exactly. Like they're in must wins. They have the Kansas City Chiefs coming up who are desperate, and then they have the Detroit Lions on the road the following week. So they're in must win games like that. They can enjoy it now, but it's what comes up must go down, and what comes down must go up. So they're on their little upswing right now, but I think they're a little too far behind. Could be something to build on.
We have sweep y'all a couple years. Yeah, but we swept the Cowgirls last year. We're talking about recent stuff. Last year we swept you. We went back to our normal.
Dak swept us in 2018.
Yeah, and last year we swept y'all. I don't care if Dak played or not. You got swept.
We're
going to entertain you Cowgirls tonight. Let's move on to the Bears before we get out of here, my guy. You know what I'm saying? Here's a little preview that our boy Ross Tucker had to say about it.
I am thoroughly impressed by what the Chicago Bears have done this year. First of all, on offense, significant improvement. Obviously, Ben Johnson, schematically, their head coach who's calling the plays, has done a terrific job putting those guys in a better position to succeed. They're running it better with Monungai and DeAndre Swift when he's been out there. But Caleb Williams, he has made huge strides, especially in not taking sacks like he did last year. Defensively, they've had guys in and out of the lineup, yet they've been the most opportunistic bunch in the NFL. They have like 3 of the top interception leaders in the league, which means, number one, the Eagles' defense has to get Caleb Williams down on the ground when the D-line and linebackers get in the backfield. And number two, Jalen Hurts must protect the football, which is something he's done very well this season. Go to myfrontpagestory.com for by far the best.
I think we were muted.
I said we got some Eagles coming back to Philly. I think it was. We got Swift coming back, Edwards coming back. They said there was someone else coming back too.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Oh, why can't we get away from this guy? C.J. is coming back to Philly too, man. Like, what do you think? What is your first take? And like, what do you think how this game's going to go down. Like we said, they're on the uprising too. They're having the best year with Ben Johnson. Shout out to Ben Johnson, man. How you take the Lions offense and now you're with the Bears and now you're having better records. Don't they have a better record than the Lions this year? Yeah, and have a better record than your former team with less talent. Because I'm not saying that the Bears are trash. I'm saying they're definitely not as high powered as the Lions are. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying about a freaking offensive coordinator that knows what the hell they're doing, scheming people open, man. If everybody hated Caleb, I'm a USC fan, so I love Caleb Williams no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And this year, he's showing that he is an NFL quarterback. Last year didn't look so well. You know, I had to hear a lot of people talk about him, but this year he's looking great out there. What do you think we need to do, man?
Yeah, I think it. First of all, Ben Johnson's done a great job there. He's obviously an offensive-minded guy. He gets a couple talented players in there and knows what to do with them. I think they had Matt Eberflus as their head coach before. Just a couple weeks ago, Dallas fans didn't even want him as the D coordinator, and now all of a sudden, I guess he's better. But he got a couple players. Nonetheless, as a head coach, it's not a good thing, especially for a young quarterback. So Ben Johnson has definitely breathed a breath of fresh air in him. But let's not sleep on the players too that they have.
And Zacchaeus is over there too, right?
I think so, but they have DJ Moore and Roma Dunze, so that's two good wide receivers. And then their offensive line, they added 3 new players to that offensive line in free agency and trade. They added Joe Tooney from the Chiefs. They traded for him, and then they added in free agency. They actually added the best center in the available. He was from Atlanta, Drew Dahlman. And then I believe they picked up another guy in free agency as well that was like a guard. They drafted a tackle, I think, last year. So they way improved their offensive line in this offseason. And I thought the Bears had a chance to be one of those sleeper teams this year because of that, not because of anything else. I've always liked the quarterback. Thought he was naturally talented. He can run. He can throw. Always thought he was a good player. I think he got a lot of hate for his personality and some. He's kind of a young kid. He's
the only thing I hated on him was his painted fingernails. Come on, man.
I think people were judging. Yeah, I think people were judging off that a little too much and not as pure talent. So I've always thought that. So as much as I say yes, Ben Johnson, it's a perfect marriage. It's an offensive head coach, and then you drafted Colston Loveland, who's been having a great year. And in a lot of the highlights they showed there, again, I mean, maybe I'm not being fair, but it's sometimes it's good on good. You see Colston Loveland get one-on-one and run a slant. You're not going to double a rookie tight end. You're going to line them up and you're probably going to put someone on them. So it's is that Ben Johnson or is that Colston Loveland just being better than the guy in front of him? So I'm not doubting Ben Johnson overall has been a great coach for them and perfect fit for a young offense like that. But I do want to shout out to the improvement on the offensive line, the fact that they have weapons that can win one-on-ones and make the scheme look better because they're favorable. They're getting favorable matchups and doing something with them. Being able to commit to the run and run it better because of that improved offensive line with the little duo of Swift and Monangai. They've added a lot of these pieces that they didn't really have, and they tied it all together with a coach that makes it work. And that's really what it is. So shout out to all of them, man. They're playing really well, and you can't deny that.
Yeah, man. Do you think that's another thing I heard someone say about the Eagles too? We play down to our talent. Because you see, when we play these dominating teams, we look a little bit better.
Right.
But when we play these teams we're supposed to go out there and destroy, those are the games that we look suspect. Do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a week-to-week league, and it's tough every week. And I think if you watch a lot of games, you'd probably think that about a lot of teams. I'm not a high roller or anything, but I bet on some games here and there just for fun, small amounts just to make them watch. And you're sweating every parlay. You think it's so easy that 6 games. I got to pick the winners of 6 games. Sure. And every game comes down to the last, the fourth quarter. You're watching Red Zone and they have the witching hour is what Scott Hansen calls it, where losses become wins and wins become losses. And you really go in and you're nah, these games are kind of all decided. And then at the end, there's 4 games that are ending in nail biters. So I just think the NFL is like that. And it's just a competitive league and it's crazy week to week. So if it was easy to decide who was going to win based on the level of talent or anything like that, then we wouldn't even watch it, and it wouldn't be hard to bet on at all. But that's part of betting on.
There'd be a lot of rich people out there,
Yeah,
or a lot of broke people for share parlays.
Yeah, which means when everybody's rich, nobody's rich. So like it has to be unpredictable to exist, and that's really what the NFL is. So sometimes we step up, we play great. I think it's more telling about the Eagles that they step up and play great against great opponents in big high stakes matchups, and I think they're going to lose games at times anyway. And if it's because they kind of shot themselves in the foot one too many times, like the Dallas game or the Broncos game, or they just came out flat like against the Giants, then I don't know. Maybe that's sometimes how you got to lose. But when the stakes are high, this team has delivered time and time again. So we'll see.
So what do you think is, and I know you said about the offensive line, do you think that is the biggest challenge, the offensive line versus defensive line? That's the biggest matchup for this game coming up? Black Friday.
Yeah, like you
short
heard.
week too, guys. That's another thing too. We got all these injuries. Look at these injuries. Because I pulled that up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's look at that injury report here. Where is it at? Injury report here. So we got Xavier Gibson, which I don't care. You should have never took that punt out. Brandon Graham groin. Lane Johnson foot. Makuba ankle not playing. Devontae Smith shoulder chest. Didn't even know he got hurt in the game. Saquon.
Dory Jackson, game day concussion protocol value, full practice. That is tiny text. Jeez. Well, full practice.
That is tiny text.
Full practice for Adoree Jackson's actually as crazy as it is to say is really good news.
It's good, yeah. Really what about you think we get one of these two linemen in there from Hinton or Willie Lampkin? You think one of those guys need to play some this week?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with them.
They say Landon limited practice knee. Obviously, he's still hurt. Blankenship died. I heard he said he's gonna play, and Saquon's gonna definitely play. So, but out of the people hurt, we all kind of knew about all. I didn't know BG was hurt, and I didn't know Devontae Smith was hurt. But they could just be like, how the Eagles like to just keep those star players out. During the week.
I can't believe Brandon Graham did this to himself. Came back out of retirement to not really play a lot. Now he's not practicing because he's hurt. Hopefully he gets healthy. Hopefully he can come back and be a little smart plug. But yeah, no, I mean the offensive line looks dinged up. Landon Dickerson obviously has this injury that's been lingering all year, and I don't know if it's going to get better. Honestly, I think he's just going to need a full off season. So it's like he might as well play. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that, but. I think that as crazy as it sounds, the Adoree Jackson thing and the fact that he practiced in full is pretty good sign. Which 4 weeks ago you'd be like, "What? Adoree Jackson being a full participant is a good thing," and it's like, yeah, it actually is.
It actually is, man. He's been playing some football, man. Yeah, the Cowgirls got him pretty well there, but he's been playing some good football. 2 games out of what? 12, I can deal with that. 2 games.
I think looking ahead too, I mean, we're not players, we're fans, so we can do that. I think beyond the Bears game, I think this is the lighter part of your schedule. There's still a couple tough games. I think going to LA is going to be tough just because of the travel, and they're a decent team. They're a good team. And then going over to Buffalo obviously is going to be
Buffalo, yeah.
But you have games where, I mean, I don't want to undermine any team in the NFL, and like you said, we played down to competition and lost to worse teams this year. But you do have what you should have in front of you is a couple games that are teams that aren't really playing for much. Teams that, they're going to try, they're going to come out and play, but you're playing for a lot more and you're better than them for that reason. And you have Washington twice, you have the Raiders. So these are games that you got to take advantage of and use them as like a get right game where it's like, okay, this team ain't really playing for much. We got to be able to, dominate at the point of attack and things like that. So, yeah, I think you're going to learn a lot about this team over the next 2 weeks against the Bears and Chargers. How they play in these 2 games is going to tell me what to expect the rest of the year.
I'm going to the Chargers game, so you better not lose, goddammit. You better not lose. I feel a lot of money to go to LA. I do not want to go down there with the Stars and Rose.
You're going to that game?
Lost, my guy.
So you said you're going to that game?
Yeah. It's my girl's birthday, Miss Birthday. It's her birthday. We're gonna be going down there for her birthday. She's never been to California, so
Nice.
I'm from Cali. We can go down there, check the game out. Go see the kids and have a little fun down in LA while we're down there. But those are the two games. I try to go 2 games a year at least. And last year was a 1 home game, and then the New Orleans game. This year, with the home game was the Detroit game, and the away game was the LA game.
Yeah, I'm going as well.
Hell yeah, Tom, baby, that's what I'm talking about. We
Yeah,
get in together, my guy.
I got some friends in LA. I used to live in LA for like 5 years after college.
I'm from LA. Like, I'm born and raised. I'm a Cali boy.
Oh, shit.
I've been in the South the last couple of years, but I am a Cali to the heart. I'm from LA. I was born and raised in LA, and then I moved from the Central Coast. You know what I'm saying? I went to Santa Barbara City College.
Nice.
And the college, and I'm from the whole. I'm a Cali boy at heart, baby.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, like
a lot of friends, a lot of family down there for sure.
That's dope. Oh yeah, that's dope. That's perfect.
So, let's get some hot takes, some score predictions, and let's get ready to get out of here. Because before we do that, what was your record prediction before the season started?
I was heavy on the 13-4. Just sounded good to me.
That's what I was at. I said with a harder schedule, I thought the Eagles would be 13-4.
But with a harder schedule, it could be 12-5. Now we haven't lost to the harder teams, but 12-5 wouldn't be bad with this schedule. Just the way it's set up too. No back-to-back home games, a billion tough games. We've just been, kind of getting through it. So yeah, I don't think 12-5 is a bad thing, and that was a popular pick too.
Do you think we get the number 1 seed though? Still, do you think this team is still good enough to get the number 1 seed, or do you think it doesn't matter if we get the number 1 seed?
I think they're good enough to get the number 1 seed. I also think the Rams are really good too. So I think obviously that's the easiest thing to say. But like I said, man, I mean, it really does come down to these next 2 weeks, because I don't think you can afford to look. We got to win them, obviously. But if you are going to leave it to chance and you're going to be vulnerable and you can't run and you can't get the O-line, eventually you're just not going to be able to, you're going to be in too many toss-up games and they start going against you, and they can't let that happen. So they got to win these next 2 games. Like, they really just have to come out and start cleaning it up. And you get through these next 2 games with wins and you go to 10-3, then you're in really, really good shape. And it really starts this Friday with the Bears, because you win this game and you have like every tiebreaker over every team. You're in firm position. You still got to win a few more games.
Right now, we're still in first, right?
No, we're in second right now. The Rams are 9-2. We're 8-3. So the Rams play the Seahawks on the road. So that's going to be a win for us either way. Because the Rams might run away and get this 1 seed. If we're the 2 seed, you think about it, just like last year. The Rams might get upset, they might not, but nonetheless, we would avoid them until the NFC Championship as the 2 seed, and we'll get 2 games in Philly in the playoffs, wild card and divisional, before having to go there. And I don't even think we're about to go for the Chargers, but I don't really think it's that's the worst case scenario. Off a Super Bowl to go back, right now, it's funny I'm saying that as if it's like, oh, well, if we're just there. If we really ended up there in the NFC Championship this year, that's a valiant type season like that, because everything looks like crap right now. If we end up 1 game from the Super Bowl and go into that game, I'm like, yo, anything can happen. You know what I mean? So that's got to be.
We beat the Rams 3 times in a row. I'm not really worried about them. I know people are like, hey, that's the number 1 team. The Eagles. I don't understand how they're so confident when they talk about it. Like, oh, the Eagles just really have to worry about the Rams. How many times we got to beat a team?
Yeah,
but they say we don't have to worry about them anymore.
Next time. That's the thing. It's always about next time. So, we beat them so many times, and we're just like, yeah, how many times we got to beat them? Well, if we got to play them again, then we got to beat them again. And they're fans.
The thing about the Rams, I feel like that people don't really look at the reason why, which comes back to our offensive line thing right now. The reason we beat the Rams is because they have a small defensive front. That's the only reason why I think we beat the Rams. It's because we played bully ball against their small defensive front. And they played us tight. They pid us tight. But you got to think, versus small.
What about our
players?
Our O-line right now ain't playing like bullies. I'll say that.
But even we already played them this year. We beat them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it wasn't because we were bullying them. We weren't bullying them in that game, though. It wasn't really
that is an advantage. Eagles. It's usually their star players on defense are smaller people.
Yeah, we
we
got
got
to get
bigger
our O
needs.
line. Got to get our O line back playing like how we know they can play. That's
That's why I think we need the number one seed.
like
I
I
think we
said,
need it.
that's going to dictate everything for this season. It's going to come down to these next few games and seeing if that O line can hit some sort of turning point. And I just don't know if it's possible. Honestly, they might have to have Jalen Hurts drag them to however far they can possibly drag them to, and then hit a factory reset because
We need to get the number one seed so we can sit starters the last week of the season and have the first round bye. And I think
yeah,
that
or just lock up the second seed before week 18 so we can have that.
give ourselves our own bye like we did last year.
Bye week. Yep, exactly.
But I want the 2 bye weeks. I want to lock the number one so we have 2 weeks to let these guys sit down, chill the hell out, and get healthier than what they are right now. Man, I think that's ideally right now. We can still do it, and that's what I'm really hoping for. Crossing fingers, hoping for it. We can get done there. But let's get 3 hot takes from me, Tom, and a score prediction for this Black Friday game. Man, we're coming out in all black. You say you're gonna be there too, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm
Hell
wearing.
yeah.
I'm rocking the all black for sure. So yeah, 3 hot takes. I'm starting with the one that I just posted a clip on Sidney Brown's 99-yard interception return for a touchdown against Arizona in 2023. I'm going to say he makes another big play. He gets an interception or makes some sort of big play, forcing a turnover. Sidney Brown just he's like the missile that makes a bunch of bad plays. He's going to give us one on Sunday. So that's one. Sidney Brown turnover. Number 2 is that the run game again for the Eagles gets shut down, and Jalen has 300 yards passing to win this game. He's going to throw for 300 yards on Sunday against the Bears. Take risks, be aggressive. That's a hot take number 2, and he's going for 300 yards. And number 3 is that Caleb Williams has not 1, not 2, but 3 turnovers this game. He's actually not turned the ball over a lot this year, but I think that Philly crowd and the pressure, he'll have a fumble or 2, and he'll throw a pick. Like I said, Sidney Brown's going to make a big play. Who's going to make the other 2 plays? We have yet to be seen, but that's my 3 hot takes right there.
My 3 hot takes going to be
a score prediction. And a score prediction, I'm going to say 31-20 Eagles.
I like it. I like it. Okay. So I got to come with better hot, with a stronger hot take. I didn't like how you just automatically assumed that this run game is not going to get it back together, man. And I'm not going to just say Saquon Barkley. I must say, if we're going to get the ball to Tank too, we're going to take some more carries. And this run game will get back on track because they will realize, like they did last year, at a certain point, they realized that the run game is going to lead us to the promised land because running the ball sets up the pass. And I think that we've been overcompensating for the A.J. Brown thing, but I feel like the last couple of weeks, AJ's kind of simmered down a little bit. He's starting to get the ball a little bit. He's kind of feeling a little bit better about himself, and he's not bringing that much stress and putting that much stress on the coordinator to make sure we throw the football. So I think this week, if the run game gets it going, we get over 200 yards rushing. I'm not going to say it's all Saquon. It's between Saquon, Jalen Hurts, and Diggsby. So over 200 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. We get that running game back in game, because it's time to gear up for the playoffs, guys. And we're going to need to be balanced going to this playoffs. We got to be able to do both. That's the only way. I feel like that's the only reason why we won the Super Bowl, and we even went to the Super Bowl the last time before that, because we were able to run and pass football. If you don't have that balance going into the playoffs, you will lose. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that is my first hot take. The Eagles will rush over 200 yards between those 3 guys, however. 2 touchdowns. I don't care if it's a push touch or whatever happens. That's just what it is. Caleb Williams, I am going to jump on that board with you. I won't say the 3 interceptions, but I will say Caleb Williams will get sacked at least 7 times. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the offensive line is good, but our defensive line is good. I think Jalen Phillips kind of had a down game, even though he put some pressure on. He kind of had a down game last game, but since he's been here, it's been nothing but great things coming from him. Jordan Davis been playing lights out this season. I would like to see him make the Pro Bowl this year. And then we're starting to see the old form Jalen Carter back. He was splitting double teams again last game, and he's been putting that pressure on him too. He should have had that tackle for loss. I remember seeing the clip for, but it's just showing that he is getting back in there. So this whole defensive line as a whole, Nolan Smith and these boys going to get to him. what I say, 5-6 times, six times, 5-6 times this game. So it'll be 5-6 sacks from our defensive line. And then my last hot take is let's go with Quinyon Mitchell get his first interception. Goddamn it. Like, goddamn it. I've been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. We wanted to see Q get the interception. He still hasn't got it. The Gene doesn't pick the ball. You know what I'm saying? Linebackers doesn't pick the ball. He even had Jalen Hunt got a pick. You know what I'm saying? It's time to see Q. I think Q takes that last game seriously and realize that he does need to step up his game because as great as he is, the last couple of weeks, he has been giving up a little bit more than he ever does give up. You know what I'm saying? He's been playing a little bit too loose. And I think it's time for him to, hone it back in, lock it back down, but get a pick in the regular season. Don't wait till the playoffs to do it. I loved the playoffs last year. You got a couple of them in the playoffs when it did matter. But let's start making it happen now before we get to that player. That is the one thing that keeps you from being an unanimous All-Pro, Pro Bowl guy, is that you don't get the picks, my guy. You got to go get those interceptions in this regular season. And I think it starts this week against Caleb Williams. Like you said, Caleb Williams going to throw those picks. Well, Q's getting one of those picks, baby. That's going to be my third hot take. And then the score prediction, let's go 31-21 Birds. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be a good game. The Eagles score. Defense give up some yards here and there. You know what I'm saying? Because that is a good offense. Like, Ben Johnson got those guys humming on all cylinders. Like you said, they have a great offensive line. But it'd be the Eagles win. You know what I'm saying? We're back at home where we need to be, and it's hard for us to lose. You know what I'm saying? Plus, we're all black, baby. We're all black, baby. They come out games with the all black on. So we're going to come out games and we're going to light some fools up, and it's going to be awesome, man. But, yeah, man, hey, thank you for subbing us. Everybody, go. We got 100 in here. Make sure all 100 of you guys go to X, go follow my boy Tom, and all the other social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, all those platforms, go sub up, my guy. He filled in great today for our boy JC Sports Talk. Salute to JC in his vacation. Hope he's having fun. And check us out. Like I said, every Tuesday night, 8 p.m., we are here with the truth. And we definitely seen that I've been throwing out a lot more content out there. So make sure you subscribe to Bird Game 31 on all platforms. You just type in Bird Game 31 wherever you're at. You see me pop up, man. Hey, any last words from you, Tom, before we get out of here?
Man, I'll tell you what. This team's taken years off my life, but I'm there.
I did love that tweet you said.
Seriously,
check out your boys.
This season's been rough, man. It's been exhausting already, but I'll be there Friday, and I'll be right. I'll appreciate that. I'll be right there, man. I'll be right there cheering the team on like I always do. So we'll see.
We are the fans, baby. We are the pulse of the Eagles. Let's stop letting the media get us all spun up. You know what I'm saying? The media be getting us all spun up. And I get a little crazy too. Y'all see me. I go crazy when the Eagles lose, man. Like, it's like, you can ask her, like, my whole Sunday was horrible after that game. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't get the funk off. I was mad. I didn't want to do nothing. I was sitting there just thinking about all the messed up plays and the messed up coaching decisions. But I do think, like we said, we got 6 games left starting this week, 1 game at a time. Let's go execute. Let's go take these fools out. Let's go ahead and reclaim that number 1 spot before we go to the playoffs. I do believe the Eagles need to get this number 1 spot. Yeah, I think that would be the most beneficial thing for this team, considering the health issues that we have on this roster. And I want to see us get them, baby. You know what I'm saying? So fly, Eagles, fly, and go Birds, and we out. Peace.
Going on, everybody, man, and welcome to the very, very, very